Well, it's great to meet you, man. Thank you so much for taking a minute out. I'm looking forward to diving into your world, into your story. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes. So let's begin our journey into your work by asking you this. 5 years ago, the pandemic changed our lives, shaped so many things that we live today. How did you make it through that era, and how has it changed the way that you approach life today?
Well, I'm an online advertiser,
Yeah.
and so I immediately started getting. I mean, it actually really did tremendously well for me because people were spending more time on their phones. So it opened up a lot of internet advertising stuff, and so I got into debt relief during that time. I also got my wife was pregnant, and so we just we stayed home, and I took care of her, and we grew stronger, and then we had our baby through COVID. Um, and so, I mean, how did that change me? I mean, you know, I would say that was a scary time. It was a really, really scary time, having to get the vaccines. We were in Puerto Rico, we were in lockdown all the time. Um, so yeah, I guess I would say that made me skeptical of and a bit worrisome for the future of society. I don't want my son to grow up in a country that's like China, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I would imagine that would put things under a microscope having a child at that time
Oh
because,
yeah,
you're looking at this Aldous Huxley kind of thing that we never thought, or 1984, we never thought would materialize in our lifetimes.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great book.
So let me ask you this. If I put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds at a school for career day and one of the kids wanted to know what you do for a living, how do you answer them?
I would just say I teach people how to use AI. That's what I tell my son.
Okay. So they would be totally hip to that. They would be all over you with that because AI is the thing. Um, so what did you want to be when you were a kid? When you were 12 years old, you were sitting at that school listening to someone talk to you for career day. What was your dream?
It certainly had changed throughout life, but I think primarily I had always wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be an artist, and then over time, my parents and society kind of dissuaded me from that.
So take me back to where you were born and raised. What were these foundational elements of getting into art and being a businessman and being an entrepreneur? How did all of these seeds get planted into you?
Well, I was born in Boston, moved to California, then grew up in Idaho. We moved there when I was 4. My uncle was an artist, and I have a long line of artists and musicians in my family. So we had their paintings and drawings around. My dad got me drawing lessons when I was 12 years old, and I really liked it. It was something I excelled in. I actually had a really difficult time in school. They at one point they diagnosed me with a learning disability. Um, and so the one thing that I really enjoyed was art, but I just had a really hard time learning in that environment, in a school environment. And So I dropped out of school in the 8th grade, and then I got into sales. And so that's what really led me into my journey with business. It was really not something I intended to do, business. Again, I'm an artist. That's what I enjoy. And so I got into sales and really made an art out of it. Um, First, I was in telesales, then I got into copywriting, writing ads. And writing is what I love. When I was 12 years old, I won a national essay contest called America's Heroes. And so I love writing, I love drawing, I love painting. And then so anyhow, I excelled very quickly at copywriting when I was 24. I built a freelance business. I had 20 or so clients, all of them making a lot of money in the internet marketing industry. Um, E-commerce, affiliate marketing. Of course, I helped them make a lot of money, and we became very good friends. We're friends to this day. So it was really something that all fell into place. I started with value, and God gives us two hands, one for giving, one for getting. You give enough to people, you're going to get back in return.
So do you ever wish there would have been someone early on in life that would have encouraged that art part of you, or are you okay with how it's all kind of transpired?
Well, I definitely, I think that I had a lot of very good influences growing up, including my dad and mom, who did both encourage art. And my uncle especially, he was the one who's like, you should take a journal around and draw, and then he's a professional musician, so he taught me how to play guitar. But yeah, I had a lot of good influences. I think my dad, he's a doctor, so and he grew up in the '60s, so he had it in his head that I had to go to school, I had to get this career in, either medicine or law in order to have success in life. And considering I had such a difficult time in school, I spent, the better part of my life proving him wrong. So although I didn't succeed in school, I enjoy reading immensely. So I still to this day, I read probably a book a week, nonfiction. So,
What was your favorite book growing up?
I would say 1984 actually was one of my favorite books.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So we tapped into that early on for sure. So, in your life as being a creative, an entrepreneur, and being successful, who's been that inspirational force that's allowed you to evolve into who you are today?
Definitely Elon Musk. I think he's absolutely tremendously impactful and just I think it's truly amazing all of the stuff that he's done and continues to do. And really like a lot of AI itself wouldn't be here without Elon Musk, at least not to the degree it was today. OpenAI was an idea of Elon Musk. Or he started it, he founded it. Um, and then we've got the stuff that's happening with Neuralink. It's just phenomenal. I'm not sure if you've read much about that, but
I've heard
five,
about it.
yeah. So 5 or 10 years from now, we're going to be, we're going to be connected to AI. Our brains are going to have access to an infinite amount of information. We're going to have thoughts, and we're going to be able. I mean, we're literally merging. We're going to merge with computers. It's an indefinite scenario that we're heading into.
Does that frighten you?
No, not at all. I think it's extremely exciting.
The only thing I think about with AI, I've seen interviews with Elon, and he's been on Rogan, and when AI comes up and they just kind of theorize like the bad side, the possibilities, I can see him get real nervous.
Oh yeah. Well, I think for someone with so much responsibility, especially, it's good that he's nervous, because it falls on his shoulders. It's
Yeah.
up to him and people like him to put these guardrails in place. Um, Now, yeah, certainly there are some catastrophic situations that can and will arise from AI. I mean, we've already seen it with people deep faking, doing these deep fake scams. They're bypassing these bank security systems. I mean, the possibilities are endless in a good way as well as bad ways. So, yeah, these guardrails, they've got to come in place, and it's good that the people in power do have this fear because without that, we really would be screwed.
So let's say Tesla, Elon puts on a contest that if you get the golden Willy Wonka ticket, you buy a Tesla and you get the gold ticket, you can meet with Elon. You can have a lunch and you can ask him questions. You buy the car and you get the ticket. You get to meet Elon. What are you going to ask him? What do you want to know?
Gosh, that's funny. I actually don't know. That would have to be something I would really, really have to think about.
Okay.
Because there's nothing. I mean, I've read 4 books about Elon, and
Yeah.
so there's quite a lot that I do know about him, and there's nothing that I can think of that I want from him, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I guess if I did ask him a question, it would be something casual, like, you know, what his opinion is on something, like there's nothing I need from him in terms of money or scientifically speaking, because all the information that I need, is chat GPT.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have access to the same information now. So,
Yeah. What is it being an AI and being in the online world? It evolves and changes all the time. It's like Moore's law. It just duplicates at an exponential rate. What is it that gets you out of bed every day to do this job, take care of your soul, keep up on the evolution of this warp speed thing that we're looking at with AI that you're helping people with? What is that collective energy for you every day?
well, it's funny you say that because it wasn't until I would say 2 or 3 months ago when I really got caught up because I was playing catch up for about a year with all the tech and stuff. And now we have 6 people on the education team, 4 people in development, 6 people on our creative team. Anyhow, what gets me up every day is just it. I mean, it is so exciting and amazing to see the stuff that this technology can do. And then also, what is also exciting is, I mean, really, it's seeing new things. I mean, I think that's really what excites anybody. And for me, it's been a really long time. Where I've gotten up every day excited to go to work. In fact, I mean, probably went on like 4 or 5 years. I've had an advertising company for 10 years. And towards the end of it, I was selling CBD and I was just in this industry that was declining. So I had to work harder and harder and harder and compete with the Chinese and the Russia, who are now doing huge volume here in the US, which is terrible for the economy. Another conversation. But anyways, I really had a really difficult time the last 4 or 5 years in business, and wasn't until about 4 or 5 months ago when I really started enjoying this. I've started this company 13 months ago. And of course, it took a lot of time and money to get it started. I invested 250,000. But now that we're all caught up and we're in a proactive state instead of our reactive state, that's where the joy is. We're looking 2, 3 months out, planning, and of course, new business models are coming up every day. I mean, the progress that we make in a single day is more than I have ever made in, I would say, months. I'm not talking weeks or days. I mean, the progress we make in a single day is insane. Like we will make, I mean, it's just, I can't even tell you the stuff that we will make, hours and hours of ads. I mean, we are launching 30, 40 professional level ads that are a minute to 5 minutes long every single day that
Yeah.
we make. And these are, you look at these videos and you're like, wow. I mean, a year or two from now, it would have cost $10,000 to make one of these videos.
Yeah. It is amazing. So let me ask you this. If you were to have a dream tonight, run into that 18-year-old version of you, you could give that young version of you a piece of advice based on this life you've lived, the wisdom you've accumulated. What advice would you impart?
I would say build a big company sooner. Because, what's funny about it is people, and I mean, at least me, I had these, I've always had big dreams, but I guess I felt that I needed to build these smaller companies to get me in a position where I could build these bigger companies, right? Well, now I'm running 2 8-figure companies that I started in the last 13, 4, or 16 months. And I'll tell you, it was so much easier building these bigger companies. And the reason why is because the people who are going to get excited that you need on your side to build these type of businesses, investors, software companies, and really anybody you're doing business with. Now, if you go talk to them and about a 6 or 7 figure idea, they might blow you off or whatnot. But if you're coming to them with an idea with a company that could potentially be $1 billion company, everybody is going to move out of their way to get a meeting with you. They're going to, I mean, they will knock down doors to do business with you. And that's the thing. It's big people like big dreams. And so it's just that would be the one piece of advice that I give to myself or anybody, like dream big, especially now.
Absolutely. So let's say you walk into a room of everybody that knows you in a business sense, clients, everyone that you've worked with throughout the years, and you could go to the front of that room in front of a podium and tell them a fun story. Maybe the first concert you went to, the best sporting event you ever attended, a mountain you climbed, jumping out of an airplane, outrunning a bear. What would be a fun story that would humanize you to that group?
Well, when I met my wife in Puerto Rico, it was 6 years ago. Like many people today, we met each other on Tinder. And I went and met her in Puerto Rico, downtown in San Juan. She's Puerto Rican, she was a lawyer. Um, and so we talked for like an hour. We just had the best time of my life, really. And we danced. Anyways, after a couple hours, I took her home Uh, and and I dropped her off and I went home. And then I called my sister and I said, Emma, I just met the woman I'm gonna marry.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So how long's it been since?
It has been since that day, it has been 6 years exactly.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So let me, this is a natural segue here. Of everything that you've done in your life, everything you've accomplished and evolved to, what are you the proudest of?
Having my son.
Yeah. So everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, everyone that you work with, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I am I'm very well, I would say that I'm kind, selfless, and generous. And I would say that's probably, I don't, the people who communicate with me and talk with me, I would say that's their perception of me as well. I keep a small circle. I'm working 12, 14 hours a day.
Yeah.
But the relationships that I do have, we're very close. The people I work with are like family. Everybody in my team, we're like family. I can call them, no matter what the time of day is, what day it is. Same with goes vice versa. I'm always a phone call away from everybody. My investors, we're like family. Everybody that I work with, we're very close. I'm a good person. I'm from Idaho. And certainly there are some people who don't know me, who see, me living in this big house, or whatever, and they will get their own perceptions of me because they don't know me. They haven't taken the time to know me. I think that's what people do, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I'm a good person. I think most people are good people.
Yeah, I agree. Sam, if anyone wants to reach out, they have questions, they want to hire you, any of the good business, where do they go?
They can go to my website, aiprofessionalsuniversity.com, or they can email me directly, sam@aiprofessionalsuniversity.com.
Wonderful. Sam, this has been great. Thank you, man. Thank you for your story. Thank you for your time. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you.